Alright, we are back. Hello again, everyone. It's your friend Will. This is the Memory Lapse. And we took a frustrating loss to Green-Black. It's this format more and more seems like it's defined by things that can't be countered. Like, we either lose to Niv-Mizzets or Carnage Tyrants, or things that are hard to remove like Planeswalkers. But I have not had a ton of success playing the Carnage Tyrant decks myself. They seem really bad in the mirror. Alright, so I think we're keeping this because of the Syncopate. We get to leave with Clifftop Retreat and then play Island, and then the rest of our lands will come in unlocked, ready to go. So we have a little bit of a mirror here. Alright, so we'll do the same thing, but we'll do the Steam Vents. Let's see if they have turn 2 search. Put this into hard mode for us. Alright, no hard mode. Thank you. Alright, so this is definitely some form of mirror, which means we'll get to experiment with our sideboard plan of the Niv-Mizzets and see how it feels to actually have our own uncounterable dragon that draws a million cards. We're gonna hit our first 7 land drops. Very good. Alright, here's our first dead draw of the matchup. We have the explosion too, so we can play the end of turn explosion game and hopefully draw into a planeswalker or something that we can then use on our turn. So there's the search. And I can't even syncopate it for 3 because they have the 3 to pay. So they got it. Alright, so now the game is in hard mode. They kept... Oh, they kept and missed land drop, which is weird. It must have been a planeswalker or something that they didn't want to put in the bin, knowing that this is going to come down to resources, and just like willfully milling a Teferi could mean you're just short a Teferi at the end of the game when you have a window to resolve something. They keep again. So this has to be land. Yep. Alright, so we're not in a rush to do anything here. Chemister's Insight's a nice one. Now we actually get to swing at the end of their turn. We have this Deafening Clarion to throw away, so I'm not worried about overdrawing. Alright, so here's where they could just like jam into Mizzet. We're in a lot of trouble. It looks like they don't have it. Another Disdainful Stroke's a nice draw. And we'll just get rid of Deafening Clarion. Alright, so this is definitely going to go long. They still have not, they've kept every single card up on the top of their deck. But we don't have any incentive to try to fire off this explosion yet. We're just going to overdraw, and we don't have any planeswalkers or anything to try to resolve on our turn. In case they do decide to engage us and they counter war over it. We only have 2 explosions in this build. We also do have to be somewhat precious with them. Alright, so Crackling Drake. Is it worth firing off a Crackling Drake main phase here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we will, because we still have like double Disdainful Stroke and expansion to try to counter something on their turn. Nice. And they're kind of inclined to let this resolve too, because I'm sure they have like damage-based removal that they're just want to throw at this. But if we do get in a few chips, it just makes them closer to explosion, being lethal. Alright, no reason to insight here. We don't really have a card we want to throw away. It's a little awkward here for them. They don't want to use mana on either turn. I mean, if they use it on our turn, then we get a chance to resolve something second main phase, so. Are they ever going to mill a card to search for Azcanta? The answer so far has been no. But they've been using it to hit all their land drops. So, pretty much as intended. And I think here we're going to Insight. It's going to grow the Drake, and we do want to find our next land drop, of course. Don't find it. Let's just go ahead and Lightning Strike them, because otherwise we're going to have to discard, and it grows the Drake again. Now this is like a very reasonable clock. Oh, but it's also Justice strikeable. Alright, let's try to protect it. Let's see what happens if we try to protect it for science here. They only have 5 cards. They Ionize back. Expansion their Ionize. Notably, expansion cannot copy Disdainful Stroke to counter Disdainful Stroke. So they Ionize again. So if we Syncopate them for 4, we'll have exactly 1 Disdainful Stroke's worth of mana up. Alright, let's go for it. If they have a counterspell here, we're just going to let it go. Another Justice Strike. I think we actually come out okay in this exchange. Because we do get to deal like 4 damage to them. Countering. Ionize. So they go to 11. We have Disdainful Stroke to try to catch a Teferi that they might try to resolve here. They only have 3 cards. If the Teferi does hit, we have Teferi of our own and Blink. So we have like a much more manageable 5 to 3 card advantage on this is where the main deck Disdainful Stroke pays off. And they just straight up scoop there. They exhausted all their resources trying to defend the removal spell. Alright, so we're bringing the Warbosses. We're bringing the Negates. We're bringing the Niv-Mizzets in the expansion. Minus the Clarion. Minus the Nova. Minus the Lightning Strike. And is it -1 blink? Or is it maybe on the play? Do we go -1 search? Search distance too good. I'm going to say it's -1 blink here. So now they're going to probably side out. They saw the Crackling Drake, but if they keep in things like Justice Strikes, it makes it harder for them to fight over Planeswalkers. I'm assuming they're taking out Deafening Clarion, which means we can steal a game with Legion Warboss here. If they keep in things like Settle the Wreckage, giving us land is not great in a matchup that's usually defined by who has more mana resources in play. Alright, so I feel like we have to keep this. We have the Warboss, Ionize Teferi, so we stick a Warboss and can even counterspell to keep it alive. It's going to be good. Alright, let's have some fun. Let's cast this card. I have not cast this yet. Let's play a creature. Oh, and we even get to syncopate whatever, if they have their own Warboss here. Got them. Looks like they don't have it. The question is, do we jam this into Ionize? There isn't really a good 4-mana punish, so... Uh-oh. They're reading the card. I'm assuming they're going to counter it. Essence Scatter. They kept Essence Scatter in. 1 mana Essence Scatter. That was a little... I think that was just a graphical error. It certainly did look like it only tapped the Glacial Fortress for that Essence Scatter. Are they drawing here? Yep. It's okay. I mean, I guess they saw the Drake, so they want to keep an Essence Scatter. That does make sense. Alright. We'll play the untapped land here, so we can syncopate for 1 and Ionize. Alright, let's see what they discard. Land, okay. It's our turn to play the Chemister's Insight game. Since we have Syncopate, we want to keep playing untapped lands. Every single one could matter. And I am a little hesitant to shock this until I need to, just because there are... let's see. There's a question of whether or not I try to counter this, because if they try to fight me over it, then I probably get to resolve Teferi. So let's test their metal. We also do not have a main deck answer to that card. We We don't have any answer. We don't have the land to destroy it if it flips. So they only have one blue here. But they could also have expansion. So let's see. If we tap out for... we pay 5 for Teferi. And they go to Syncopate. I think we can actually resolve this here. But if they Teferi us back and minus our Teferi, I think we're in a bad spot. So we're just going to hold and play this Insight on their turn. And not get too antsy. Even though that was kind of a window, it's kind of like a trap window, I think. So if they just like land Teferi back minus ours, then they have to get a couple turns of plussing that we have no control over. We do that Ionize, which is great. Just gonna keep playing this patiently. Probably gonna use the Chemister's Insight to discard the Steam Vents. So we do just want to find more permission, more interaction. Find an uncounterable Niv-Mizzet would be cool. Azcanta is a good one. And worth trying to get down. Ionize. Yep, I think we're just gonna let that get countered. We have the second Chemister's Insight, so we have something to do on their turn. So we're incentivized to keep this mana up. Alright. Let's get that in play tap, it's fine. I do just want to keep making land drops. We're getting to the point where we have a ton of protection to try to resolve it to Teferi. Four, 5, 6, and 8. Looks like they're missing land drops. Alright, so we want to keep making ours to push this advantage. They're also in a position now where if they're missing their land drop, they have 8 cards, and they're discarding a spell. Which is really good for us. Looks like that's exactly what's happening. They discard Settle the Wreckage. Good to know they kept that in, or boarded it in even. Alright. So do we probe with one Teferi here? I think we do. They only actually have 2 blue sources. So they Ionize. So we can go red, red. Ionize back their Ionize. Because we have 2 more Teferis, like, we're not as susceptible to them now. Like, if this resolves. Alright, so we Ionize their Negate. Ionize their Ionize. Land Teferi plus Teferi. Syncopate's like pretty medium. So we have Teferi in play. We can go to negate theirs. They counter back, they counter back. But then they minus, we play ours, we minus theirs. Yep. But wow. Actually, if their play here is like a 3-cost counterspell, we get to syncopate it for 1, which is nuts. If this is like Ionize number 2 or 3 from them, it is. Holy shit. Alright, they'll scoop right here. Called shot. Alright, so yeah, I mean, look, that's how you can win these mirrors. Just patience, patience, patience. Focus on making your land drops. And look for moments like that where your opponent has missed a couple and put the pressure on them. Donnie. I mean, I pretty much have all the cards I want from the set, so we're just getting vault progress at this point. Alright, that's it for round 2. We got a win in the books. Feels good to be winning with this deck. I really like those mirrors. I know they might be a little boring, but it's kind of an interesting. Just it's different from playing with like decks like the green deck or other like creature-based decks. You really just have to consider different things, which I quite enjoy, and I hope you all enjoy it too. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Please subscribe. That's my favorite. That's the metric I am tracking right now as whether or not this channel is succeeding in growing. So, yep, we'll be back soon for round 3. Thank you again. Bye.